Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video we tell you why didn't Britain fight in Vietnam War, as well as the many excellent responses from others. Another reason the UK did not officially support the sending of UK troops to support the US etc., was that the UK had experienced its own Vietnam War at the end of WW2. And had already learned the hard way just who they would have been dealing with. As France was still recovering from the effects of WW2 and was unable to re-establish themselves into all of their farthest flung colonies, Britain offered, felt obligated or was asked, to administer those French colonies until France was able to take them over again. One such colony was French Indochina, Vietnam. The British discovered upon arrival that things were quite chaotic as there was a total breakdown in civil law and order, since the Japanese had ruled Vietnam with an iron fist. The Japanese, especially the soldiers, were all prisoners of war since the surrender of Tokyo. With so few Brits, Commonwealth soldiers deployed to the country, and facing a massively complex situation and a relatively large country to govern, police, the British administration was compelled to make use of those Japanese POWs as a de facto police force. Naturally, they were not only released but also rearmed. This did not go down well with the locals who had been fighting those same Japanese a few months earlier, only to have them rearmed and effectively back in control. The locals were not that impressed with the Brits either. There was a bloody guerrilla campaign against the British, and all the more so when it was also realized the Brits were then preparing the country to be repossessed by France. As for the Brits, they couldn't get out of there quick enough. As they were leaving, the Brits did their very best to advise the French to also leave as rapidly and as peacefully as possible, which, as we all know, was promptly and completely ignored. The UK was in no way in a hurry to return. They knew what would be awaiting them. In addition, the domino theory that gripped the paranoid US imagination and was held as their rationale at the time just did not hold any water with the UK. They were no way near as obsessed with the delusional, communist takeover of the world, conspiracy theories, self-fulfilling prophecies, the Americans expounded. While Macmillan, Supermac, and JFK did enjoy a sort of budding, special relationship. Given the age-generation gap between the two leaders, it was more of a patriarchal one rather than a shared economic, philosophical, worldview. It was also a time where even though the UK was on the long imperial wind-down, the UK was still a country with significant international influence and ability to act, for the most part, more or less independently in its own foreign policy. As such, and given the US treatment of the UK in particular, over the Suez Crisis and the lack of any US support during the Malayan emergency, it was hardly that surprising in return that the UK was loath to officially commit itself to what the UK perceived to be, rightly as it turned out, the US's reckless Vietnam adventure.